Hello and welcome to Saturday Chat with Big Scott 35, which is me. Didn't do anything this week. I decided just to take the week off, enjoy some relaxation. I did it in my shorts. And I went home for a couple of days. Spent time with the parentals. Just talking with dad and his wife and stepmom, and spending some great quality time with my mom, and doing some Christmassy stuff, and went to a good place to eat on yesterday. That's kind of when I did my Christmas. I traveled on Christmas Day, just less traffic. So anyway, and great time. It's always a good time to be with family, and it was good. Let's see. I did hit on the way back today. Hit every Target and one Walmart trying to find WNBA Prism. No luck. I did. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I did pick up a few things. One, three, five blasters, a value box of Update, and a hanger box of value box of Topps Chrome. Going after is X-Fractus, and Update hanger box, which is I feel always good. I did stop at one of the BKs that's a little bit further from me, just on the way, which is I talk about on my other channel a lot. I just like to go in there. They do have a few sports things every once in a while. I went to a couple of antique malls. One, I did pick up some stuff, a nice stack of cards. He's got 10 or 12 3200 count boxes just lined up with cards, and he's like, I gotta charge 50. I met him. He's like, I gotta charge 50 cents. If not, I would do 15 cents if they just let me put the cards in there. But they make me do the sleeves and the top of it. I was like, to me, they're worth it. I mean, there would be probably dollar cards in another box somewhere. I kind of dig through looking for gold, some stuff I don't have. I don't check them. I just try to go by memory. And if I do have them, I'm not really worried about them. Because these are cards I like. I mean, they just look good, most of them. A lot of them are 90s, early 90s, but, hitting the nice Hostess cards. There were some that were really bad cut, so I just stuck with them. And I have those, but I just like them. I don't think I have that Frank Thomas, so just looking for cards I like, and if I do, I don't care to get that. Like this one, I couldn't remember. I won't go look it up, but I really like that card. Picked up a couple cards for friends. So just kind of, just digging through there. I did pick up a Sporting News from 1972 with Al Oliver. It was $8. I just like it. Just something else to hang up with my other. I like that stuff. I don't know why. I like it in the bathroom. Just reminds me of going to sports bars and stuff where they have old stuff or the paper that day hung up while you're taking a whiz, something to read. So I'll have that hung up in my new place. Probably won't take the time to hang it up here. I'm actually going to start probably packing here this next week while I'm a week off for my move, and that has a lot to do with what my plans are for next year. I did stop today and put 5 cards for PSA. I hate to do it, but I mean, people are still buying it on eBay. I mean, I feel like I'm losing money with certain cards, and then I started going through my 3,200 count box of stuff that I would like to get graded that I pull from to get graded for one reason or another. But I'm starting to just the stuff that I want to sell, I'm just going to sell raw for the most part, unless it's a card that makes sense to get graded. If not, I still keep in the cards I want to keep for my PC, some rookies and things like that. But just starting to dive in and really start trying to do something to move some cards and get cards that I want for the PC. Picked up some mags today, Walmart. I'm going to tell you this again. It's GameStop. If you're having two places that to look for cards in your area, if you're lucky enough to have them. GameStop, my GameStop now that I go to for cards, they redid the inside of it. They even got tables in there now for when they do TCG tournaments. It's turned into, or one part of it is like a LCS. There was a TikTok this weekend talking about my buddy in Iowa. I think he sent it to me. Talking about the guy was working a show this past week, and two groups were going and buying slabs, and that was Arena, which he thought Arena was owned by somebody else. Arena's owned by Arena. They're just doing repacks. And then GameStop had people going through buying cards at a little higher percentage than other people were buying. He was saying as much as 90%, which they're just looking for inventory. That's why they had that trade anything last week. They're just looking for inventory. So to put in the stores to get people in. And, I'm going to tell you right now, just you got to be careful with buying cards from them, because if they're going to follow their model for video games, because you got to be careful with the video games, because they'll put a video game in a generic box with nothing on it and say it's the same price as if it was complete in box. It's not the same price. I went circles with somebody there before because of that. They tried to give me one that I took the box up there, it was complete, and they tried to give me one without it. And it's not the same thing. I don't want if I wanted a box with nothing on it, I would have brought that one up there. Because it's the same price. Y'all don't differentiate. So I'm telling y'all, that's where to be careful. But they have very good Zfolios. They carry Fanatic stuff because they are in bid with PSA. But for me, we'll talk a little bit today and then elaborate. We'll talk a little more tomorrow night. And for me, grading is going to really come to a very, very slow halt. I took 5 cards today. Only one was a Gary Carter. The rest, the other 4 is to sell. So that's the way I'm going right now until I don't have anything else to sell. Then I would probably stop altogether. I just need to get some things in order. I need to put some money in the bank and be for my move. And after the move's going to probably deplete me a good amount. So, that's the way it is. And, because you got to pay first month, last month, security deposit. I'll probably pay movers, all that stuff. So it's going to be quite a bit of money. But I need to move. So it's got to happen. So that's the main reason. And also right now, I'm just not happy with the grading services. I think I think somebody wrote that my last Saturday or Sunday was like a locker room after losing a championship or a playoff game. I can get that because it's a little, as much as having fun in this hobby, many different ways. Some of the ways is just kind of I felt like this before where they took it away from me, a little bit. Uh, I'm new. I'm newer to the grading. This is how I feel. I've been grading now probably for 11 years, and I still feel new to it. So these guys that come in and been doing it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, that's when I get angry. Not angry. Why do we listen to them? How are they the great? And the only reason why is because they can afford to buy higher end slabs. They can buy the high end vintage cards or high end low number cards in a 10 or a 9 or an 8 or whatever, where somebody like me cannot. So that makes them the smartest guy in the room. I've talked about this before. It's very confusing to me. It looks like to me most people want to listen to the guy that doesn't have all the money in the world and has to figure out ways to purchase things and be smarter with their money. But that's not how our community is. It used to be kind of that way. So that's going to come to my Sunday nights. I think tomorrow night's going to be my last one. I love doing it. I love my community. But I feel like I've kind of hit a wall a little bit. I feel stale. And I have fun doing it. I feel that way and I get on and then I have fun. The hour flies by most times. But then I feel like, what did I talk about? I feel like a lot of things are being regurgitated. Some things need to be, but I don't think I need to really talk about how grading is a thing that it's not for everyone. It shouldn't be. Everyone could do it, but they've made it so pricey. We're going to keep talking about this. CGC's bringing up prices, but I feel like we're going back. We went backwards here in the last 3 months. We backslid as a community. I talked before. I used to tell everyone, get in the community, turn the camera on yourself, blah, blah, blah. That's still to a certain extent, but be careful because this community has turned very toxic. You got very smug people, very people that are, tell you your why we do certain things, and then turn around and they're in that video or the next video and do the same thing. Clickbait, all that stuff, and to me, it's the same old stuff. So Sundays are probably I would do more of this type of thing where I just talk a little bit. Sunday, I'll still do a live when I feel like it's necessary or if I miss it. I feel like it's kind of ran its course a little bit. Everybody and their brothers doing lives now. When I started, it was just a couple of people doing lives to my knowledge. Now, I'm not saying I know if everybody was doing it, but it wasn't a lot of people doing it. Of course, Carlos has been doing it a long time, but it wasn't a lot of people did recorded type of show like that, but lives were kind of, for our community, wasn't a huge thing. I'm not saying I started it by any means. I just think it's just probably the next step because a lot of other communities have been doing lives and podcasts and all this other stuff. And I just think we just caught on the tail end, just riding the coattails of that. It's just a natural progression. But, I just feel like I ran a course and, and like I said, it might be just once a month or something when get on, catch up, and do some things. I like to do a little bit more on my Saturdays, other than bitch about what's going on in the community or anything like that. Because I still love this community. I think for the most part, 90%, whatever, it's awesome. But man, it only takes one that rotten apple, right? That's what the old saying is. So I feel like we have more than one now, but and it's definitely right now our hobby is very tiered right now. You got different levels with what money you can spend, and that's just the way it is. It's always going to be that, but now it's very pronounced. I've talked about it. There's definitely, like, I could sit here all day and pick off nice cards, very nice cards, Pete Alonso's and David Wright's, and cards that I like for my PC at very low rates, and then every once in a while get a nice auto. I'll have one this week that is coming in. I went ahead for Christmas, and Christmas Day, I didn't why people were ending auctions on Christmas Day. I really did well on Christmas morning with auctions that were ending, and really getting cheap cards. I think I got like 6 cards for $50, I think, and with one of them being an auto of Pete Alonso. So, I feel like it's definitely tiered, and there's some of us that has to save our money or wait for a big show to go get the bigger cards, the commas. I don't want to say big boy because one of my friends does not like that. But more expensive card. I can't get a comma card every month. I just can't. I can't afford that. It doesn't even matter if I save up all and only buy one card. I just can't do that. Now, can I buy $200 card every month? Yeah, if that's probably the only card I buy all month. And there might be a month where that happens. So with that being said, you probably won't get as many Wednesdays from me. You're going to probably get one at the end of the month, going over what I got for the month. Maybe one or two sprinkled in if I get a PSA return or something that I think, if I need to do one because I got too many cards to do all in one Wednesday, then I'll do more. But I love showing cards and talking about it. I love talking about my hobby. That's just, I just can't do as much right now. I can't. I talked to my dad at length. My dad will be 80 in, what's today, the 27th, in 8 or 9 days. He'll be 80. And, he said, he was talking about, it's a shame that I could go buy a nickel buy a pack of cards with the gum. And he goes, and we wanted the gum, and even kids can't even go to a Walmart and buy a pack now. It's, much less, one of y'all's little boxes y'all buy that's $24, $25. I try to explain to him how many packs and all that, but it doesn't matter. It has a very good point. And, it's definitely not our parents' hobby. It's definitely, as much as we want kids in it, it's definitely more adultish hobby. The money is adult money. Yes, kids have adult money. They walk around with Pelican cases, but they had to start somewhere with somebody's money. Now, they might have got it cutting grass. I don't know. More power to them. I don't care how they got it, but they're in the game. There's kids at shows. And like I told him, they go to shows. They can buy cards. They just get one or two cards, maybe not a pack. But the day of buying cards and doing the flips, and if you don't know how to flip, when you flip a card and it's face up, face down, or whatever, you get both cards. And actually sitting in the floor and picking teams and making up a game with them. And that's why the cards are the way they are. Those cards from the 50s and 60s are that way. It's because the kids actually, it was a toy. It was another toy. And for my dad was poor. My dad was poor, but he could afford baseball cards. His mom would send him to the store to get a drink or whatever, and he can take that quarter and get a drink for him, his mom, and sister, and get a pack of cards. Come back on his bike, and his friends or whatever, and then they open up their pack or whatever and see what they got. I mean, it's a very different time. It was a lot more food and beverages back then, a lot more on the back of the Wheaties boxes and stuff like that. Mail-in offers from dog food and things like that. We just don't have that because those businesses can't afford to pay to have that stuff. It doesn't make them anything, doesn't do anything for them. They have to pay so much for the rights to have them. It doesn't make any sense. So, you're not going to see as much as that as even when I grew up. I remember, I try to remember, I had Duracell, Kraft macaroni and cheese was huge. There was some pizzas that did it when I was older. Of course, Hostesses and Wonder Bread. That was huge in the 70s and early 80s. Kellogg's cereal with the whatever they call 3D type things in the thing. It's just going to be tough to have that now. So it's just a different time, and I could still spend the money if I want to, but right now I don't want to. I don't want to overspend. I don't want to overextend myself. I don't want to try to be smarter, right? Sell more to get less quantity. Sell a lot of quantity to get less back in quantity. I'd rather have maybe a little bit more quality. I've told you that. That's an ongoing thing for me. I think it's for most collectors. It's quality versus quantity. You go to a car show and you go to all the boxes. And you're like, man, do I want to go in the boxes or do I want to look around and see if I can get one good card out of the case, right? And that's what I usually do. I walk around, I see if it's anything that catches my eye with my $200. And if not, then I start diving into boxes. And the last few shows have been all boxes. Last two shows, I haven't bought a graded card. And I love it. I'm okay with that. So, put binder stuff, things in boxes that I have. So, right now, as I said, I love this hobby. I love my people, my friends in my hobby. We just added a new person to our national home this summer. I'll wait to let them maybe say. I don't know if we want to say yet. It's good thing, excitement in our group for that. Something to really look forward to. Because that's one thing. Our group at our house, it is collectors first and foremost. Now we all sell, but but it's we sell to collect, and some people do sell to make some money. But for them, it's more of a hobby than it is a livelihood. For me, I sell to get rid of stuff, and like I said, I got about another 200 cards I'm selling this month, and I'll probably get one or two cards from that. That's the way I'm going right now. That's how collecting, and yeah, actually done pretty well with eBay this week. To tell you the truth, I got to mail that stuff out today because I was out of town for a few days. So just trying to get myself in position to move. Continue to enjoy this hobby. I've made over 1,100 videos in 9 years, right? Less than 9 years. So it's going to be hard for me not to turn the camera on Sunday night. And who knows? I might change my mind because I always tell you I got a but. It's always a but. But as of right now, unless something drastically changes, I think I'm probably going to do once a month. Come on, catch up with everybody. Try to bring somebody on to chat with. I know that's not the best way to do it to keep people interested in your channel. But I'm not really worried about that, right? I'll still have content during the week. I just won't have, I'm going to try to spread it out where I have still 2, maybe 3 videos a week. Saturday, talking more about my collections, talking, how I do things, whatever comes up in the hobby. Because right now I'm trying to get as much as I can in these one touches, graded, and yes, I'll still have stuff in 3,200 bulk count, like my Mets cards and Cowboys cards, but most of it, my PC is going to be really protected with this. And the one touches is all I need. That's what one touches is what my mem cards and my autos go with. I don't really get those graded unless I want to sell them. And now it's really got to be something that's going to make sense to get it graded for me to get graded, to do graded cards. If there's, I'm still doing, I still got with CGC, I have to make that decision this summer. They're going up in price this January here in another week. The wait and see moment. I love CGC. I love them to death. But the secondary market doesn't. So it's tough to go that route unless it's just for. Now I'll do some non-sport and sell it. I just sold a Star Wars card at a good price this week, Andor card, which will pay for most of my last sub with CGC. So, grading is, yes, this last sell for me really doesn't make a difference, but it still makes it and the biggest difference is just they buried SGC. I probably won't get any more living sets done. I will probably one touch them probably. I don't know what I don't know if I'm going to do CGC or not. I was really liking SGC, getting that old style card, and the SGC holder looks so good. It's going to look as good in the CGC, but it's not. Now I'm changing what they're, I do have a couple in PSA as well, but, I really liked them in that SGC holder. But this last order with SGC, PSA has just buried them. They're going to do the same thing with Beckett and make us be the bad guys and not use them to shut them down. And you can just see it happening. Not good. And I'm not really happy with Fanatics coming out at the end of the year with 6, 7 different SKUs at the end of the year. And they still got 1 or 2, I think, before they start the 2026 flagship. So, and I'm worried about how much that's going to be, because update was ridiculous for 2-3 names in it because they had the MLB debut one of ones. Congratulations to Fanatics. That was a genius move. But us collectors that don't give a shit about the MLB patch 101 other than to get it and sell it as fast as I get it. I don't know what benefit is of it. It just doesn't make sense. But that's it for me this week. I'll talk more tomorrow night on what 2026 will bring. More on like what I'm going to be looking for. What is my PC look like for 2026? And, I talk about ad nauseum how that changes for me from wherever the wind blows. I could be changing what I'm looking for. But it's basically the same 10 or 12 people or characters or something like that. So, yeah, let's talk more about that tomorrow night. Bring what you're doing for 2026. Let me know how you're feeling about the state of the hobby right now. I think overall it's still good. It's just I think we backslid. We went back towards where we were during COVID instead of kind of going another way. And I still, like I said, I really think I said it before COVID. I was one of the people saying it 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Well, shoot, COVID was 8 years ago, I guess now. That I really do. I don't want to blame the breakers, but the breakers are where the product is going. So, and the companies don't care as long as they make money. Once the millionaires came in and took over, I knew we were in trouble. And I said that again 7 years ago. People that want us to go mainstream, be careful what you wish for. Because once the money starts flowing, you're going to have bad actors and people that are just money hungry and turn this hobby to a corporate business, like my man Westergriff talks about, and kind of takes the hobby from the everyday guy. So until tomorrow, like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't. Doesn't cost anything. And until tomorrow, see ya.